that there are over 20 million, not million, I just checked myself, 20 billion disposable. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time here, thanks for joining the journey. This is the first video in a 4-part series about cloth diapering. In this video, we're going to go over cloth diapering 101, the motivation of why on earth would you do it, and how to choose what kind of cloth diapers that you want to go forward with and try. The other videos in this series will cover the myths around cloth diapering, my newborn stash and routine, as well as a very doable cleaning routine that gets your diapers clean. That's all we're after. We don't need elaborate cleaning routines. So if you want to see the other videos in this series, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, but let's go ahead and get started. The first pro to cloth diapering is probably the one that gets the most people interested in doing research, and that is the cost. Cloth diapering is so much cheaper than using disposables, and you keep just gaining savings as you use them longer and if you choose to use them with subsequent children, because the cost for continuing to cloth diaper is not that significant. The cost of a basic stash of diapers is going to cost you $300 to $500 depending on what type of diapers you use. Comparatively, using disposable diapers for the lifetime of your child before they're potty trained is going to be between $1,500 and $2,000. So for a quarter of the cost, you can diaper your child. Some people will have a rebuttal to this point saying, oh, the cost of cleaning them just offsets it, it's not that worth it. And that's actually not true. And while the cost of this isn't negligible, it's nowhere near the cost of continuing to use disposables per week. And if you use a cloth diapering service, then it does become a little bit more comparable to the cost of using disposables. But there's other pros that I'm about to get to that kind of offsets that. So even if the money isn't a major factor for you, there's still other reasons to continue to cloth diaper. The next biggest reason that people often look into cloth diapering is the environmental impact. The Environmental Protection Agency says that there are over 20 million, not million, I just checked myself, 20 billion disposable diapers put into landfills every year, which accounts for 3.5 million tons of waste. And while this is honestly just a small part of the waste that's produced by humans, it is a piece of waste that takes 500 years to decompose. Ugh. But again, the naysayers will pop in here and say, you gotta wash cloth diapers. It doesn't matter, you're producing just as much waste to clean all that water and use it to wash. False, false, false. It takes about 60 times more waste to produce and ship and then use a disposable diaper versus the water to clean a cloth diaper for its entire lifetime. I'll step off that soapbox for a minute. We'll cover that a little bit more in depth in my myths video that's coming out next week. Here's a few more pros that I have honestly experienced since using cloth diapers. First of all, they're super cute. They're super cute. I mean, look at this. In fact, here, I'll just insert footage of all the cute diaper covers that I have. They're so much cuter than disposables. They're just so darn it cute. Getting myself together. I get a little overwhelmed by the cuteness. One of the things that I have actually really liked using cloth diapers personally is I have no guilt over changing her whenever I have any questions or when she's even a little bit wet. I feel like with disposables, you are trying to like not waste one, and you're always worried about the cost of like, oh, that cost me money to change a thing. I just change her whenever I'm suspicious. And I have no guilt over that because it's the same amount of laundry basically. A few diapers isn't doing me, like putting me over the edge. I do it every 2 days. There'll be a video on that too. But it's no big deal. So I have no guilt over changing her, which means she gets to be dry more often. Another great pro of cloth diapers is no blowouts. So I've heard horror stories. I've heard the horror stories of just car seats full and outfits ruined, and I have to say, cloth diapers, the elastic in them is just so much stronger than the disposable diaper elastic, obviously. I mean, it's meant to be permanent and reusable, so it's so much stronger. So when there's a poo explosion, the diaper takes it and just contains it. And it's not a pretty scene by any means, but it's contained. I haven't had any blowouts. Fingers crossed. Next, my biggest pro, I'm gonna talk about this a little bit more in my cloth diapering routine, cloth wipes. They are amazing and superior to disposable wipes in every single way. I think we're all kidding ourselves when we use disposable wipes that our hands aren't coming in contact with gross things. Cloth wipes, I feel so much more protected, and they just got more grip to them and do a much better job. We used obviously disposables in the hospital, and I have to say, using those disposable wipes, I was just like, what is this? This is flimsy and pointless, and plus my cloth wipes smell amazing because of the cloth wipe like scented stuff that I add. It's wonderful. If nothing else, consider cloth wipes. Again, I'll go over that a little bit more in my cloth diapering routine. They're amazing. So I've been talking about the pros for a little while. Let's swap to the cons, because there certainly are some that you need to take into consideration before you go down this journey. The first con is they are a little bit more complicated than disposable diapers. Disposable diapers are the norm, so your caregivers and stuff are gonna be most likely familiar with that. That being said, no one hasn't gotten how to cloth diaper after one tutorial. Been like, you put this bit in here, done. And then they're like, okay, we're good. It's not that complicated. And then instead of putting things in a diaper genie or the trash, you put them in the wet bag. So there's not a lot, especially all-in-ones. We're gonna talk about types of diapers here in a minute, but especially with all-in-ones, I mean, it's basically the same. That is the easiest thing. Anyway, so there's a little bit more of a complicated factor there, but really easy to overcome. The next, and I think the most significant con, is laundry. If you're not using a service, then you are doing 2 to 3 more loads of laundry a week. It's not very complicated laundry, as I will show you in the 4th video in this series, but it is something you have to stay on top of. And finally, they are a little bit more work to use outside of the home. In my routine video, I'll show you kind of what I do to travel with them. I choose to go ahead and use cloth diapers when I'm out, but this falls back on one of the myths I'll talk about, that you have to use cloth diapers all the time. You most certainly don't. If there's times where it's too inconvenient, then go ahead and use disposables. It's not an all or nothing game. So if you choose to use disposables when you're out, you're still making a good environmental impact and a good cost savings impact while you're at home. Now you're interested in cloth diapers, maybe you're on the fence. Let's talk about types. There's a bunch of different types of cloth diapers, and it can be really overwhelming. I know it was for me when I was trying to choose, and a lot of guides will tell you to pick up a few of each type and blah 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 and try them out. Go for it if you want to, but they're not exactly cheap. So I decided to just do my research, figure out what would fit my lifestyle, and I've been happy with my choice so far. But let's go from least complicated to most complicated. Starting with all-in-ones. These are exactly what they sound like. The waterproof shell and all of the absorbent parts are stitched together. They literally act like a disposable diaper. You snap them closed, snap them open. After every soiled diaper, you change them out. Cons of this, you need a lot of them because obviously you're changing the whole thing every single time. The other con is that they take forever to dry. Because the waterproof side is attached to the absorbent layer, you can't just put them in the dryer forever or else that waterproof shell would get ruined. So you have to line dry them, but they take forever to dry. So if you're in a really warm climate, maybe that's not as big of an issue. But certainly for me in the Midwest, where the weather is less predictable and I have to do line dry inside, I was not game to have things drying for hours and hours and hours and hours. Next are pocket diapers. So this is essentially one more step than the all-in-ones. Essentially they have the outer waterproof shell, and then they have a pocket where this type of absorbent layer would get put in. Granted, it is also lined with an absorbent layer, but not as much as those all-in-ones. So when you go to wash them, you take this out of the diaper and things dry and clean faster. Again, things have to be changed after every single soiling of the diaper, so you do need a significant stash. Then you have all-in-twos. This is where the waterproof shell and the absorbency layer are completely separated, but they snap together. So the benefit of this is that you get to reuse that outer shell and just buy those inserts. Now, because they snap in, you have to buy compatible brands, which can be a little bit limiting. But they do give you a little bit more versatility to just have a bunch of inserts instead of covers. Then you get to what we chose to do, which is to just use diaper covers and inserts. This way, I'm only ever a few hours from a completely clean diaper stash. I have full versatility to use whatever liners and whatever covers I want without feeling guilty that I'm making my whole system more complicated. It also gave me the option to try a bunch of different inserts because they could be made of cotton, hemp, and bamboo, and they all have different thicknesses and absorbencies, which was really nice when we are trying to up the absorbency during the night and maybe give her a little bit more mobility and not make her a total marshmallow man during the day. And finally, you have fitted diapers, which are a contoured or absorbent layer that fits around the baby. The pro of this is that there's no folding or anything like that. You just snap them closed. But then you also need a cover to go around that. And those are your basic diaper types. I'll put up a chart right here that kind of flow charts it out and shows you what they look like. The reason that we decided to go with the covers and the pre-folds is again because of the versatility and the quickness to clean. I never wanted to be in a position where I needed half a day to clean my all-in-ones and get them dry. I wanted to be able to get to clean diapers within a few hours because you might have those oh no moments where you put the last diaper on the child and you're like, we're out. Then I could still do laundry and make it to the next diaper change without issue. I know that was a really breezy overview of cloth diapers and the pros and cons and how to choose them. If you have any specific questions, go ahead and leave them down below. Like I said, I'll have a routine video coming out in a few weeks that'll go more in depth about the cloth wipes and exactly what components we use to make our cloth diapering work and easy. All right, until next time, ladies, keep on fighting. Bye.